The cardboard box in Marcus Carter's trembling hands held everything that was left of 15 years of loyalty. A framed photo of his 8-year-old daughter, a worn coffee mug with the words "World's Best Dad," a notebook filled with ideas that had helped the company save thousands of dollars, and a faded employee badge that no longer opened any doors. Behind him, the glass doors of the office closed with a soft click, but the laughter coming from inside echoed louder than ever. His manager didn't even look him in the eyes when security escorted him out. There had been no warning, no explanation, and no chance to defend himself. As Marcus stood on the sidewalk staring at the building where he had given the best years of his life, he had no idea that before the sun went down, one phone call would completely change everything. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still matters, if you believe hard work deserves respect and everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories that remind us humanity is never lost. Marcus had never expected life to become easy. Ever since his wife passed away from a sudden illness 6 years earlier, every morning had started before sunrise. He packed lunches, braided his daughter's hair the best he could after watching countless online tutorials, dropped little Ava at school, and rushed to work hoping he wouldn't be late. He rarely complained. Every overtime shift meant another grocery bill paid, another school trip his daughter could attend, another birthday where she could smile instead of wondering why life had taken so much from them. His co-workers knew him as the dependable man who stayed late without asking for recognition. The executives barely knew his name. The company had been struggling for months, but Marcus kept believing loyalty would matter when difficult decisions came. Instead, on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, Human Resources called him into a small conference room. A folder lay on the table beside a termination letter already signed. They called it restructuring. They thanked him for his years of service in rehearsed voices that sounded completely empty. Security waited outside before he had even finished reading the letter. His access card was disabled immediately, as if 15 years of dedication had suddenly become a threat. Walking toward the bus stop carrying the heavy box, Marcus wasn't thinking about pride. He was thinking about rent due next week, about Ava's asthma medication, and about the promise he had made beside his wife's hospital bed that their daughter would always feel safe no matter what happened. That promise suddenly felt impossible to keep. When Ava opened the apartment door that afternoon, she instantly noticed the box. Children often understand sadness long before adults admit it exists. She hugged her father tightly without asking questions. Marcus forced a smile and assured her everything would be okay, though he wasn't sure he believed those words himself. After putting Ava to bed that evening, he sat alone in the kitchen staring at unpaid bills spread across the table like impossible puzzles. Then his phone rang. The caller ID displayed an unfamiliar number. Normally he would have ignored it, but something made him answer. The voice on the other end belonged to Eleanor Brooks, a retired executive who had left Foster Precision Group 3 years earlier. Marcus recognized the name immediately. She had always treated every employee with dignity regardless of their position. She had heard from an old colleague about the sudden layoffs and specifically asked whether Marcus had been among them. When she learned the answer, she became silent for several seconds before asking one simple question. Had anyone ever thanked him for quietly saving the company from disaster year after year? Marcus laughed sadly because he thought she was exaggerating. Eleanor wasn't. She reminded him of forgotten moments. The production crisis he solved during a winter storm when managers couldn't reach the factory. The software error he fixed over a holiday weekend that prevented millions of dollars in delayed orders. The safety improvement he suggested that dramatically reduced workplace injuries. Every time, senior executives had accepted awards while Marcus quietly returned to work. Eleanor had watched it happen again and again. She told him she now served on the advisory board of a rapidly growing manufacturing firm searching for someone exactly like him, not someone with the loudest title, but someone whose character inspired trust. She asked if he would meet them the next morning. Marcus almost said no. His confidence had been crushed only hours earlier. But Eleanor insisted that sometimes rejection simply pushes us toward the place where we were always meant to belong. The interview felt different from the moment he entered the building. Instead of asking him how many people he had managed, they asked how he solved problems. Instead of questioning employment gaps or polished speeches, they wanted real stories about teamwork, leadership, and resilience. Marcus answered honestly, never once criticizing his former employer. He simply spoke about responsibility, service, and never forgetting the people depending on you at home. By the end of the meeting, they offered him a leadership position with a salary nearly double his previous income, flexible hours that allowed him to spend more time with Ava, full health benefits, and the opportunity to mentor younger employees. Marcus sat speechless, unable to process what he had just heard. For the first time in years, someone had recognized not just his experience, but his value. News spread quickly through the industry. Eleanor's recommendation carried enormous respect, and many professionals began asking why such an exceptional employee had ever been dismissed. Former co-workers quietly reached out, revealing that several experienced staff members had resigned after witnessing how Marcus had been treated. Clients who trusted Marcus's integrity began moving projects to his new company, believing that organizations reflecting his values deserved their business. Meanwhile, Foster Precision Group faced growing problems. Productivity declined as experienced workers left. Internal reports revealed that many successful systems the executives had claimed as their own had actually been developed through Marcus's recommendations. The board launched an internal review after shareholders questioned leadership decisions. The company wasn't destroyed overnight, but its reputation suffered because respect had been sacrificed for short-term convenience. Marcus never celebrated their downfall. Instead, he focused on building something better. He introduced mentorship programs where every employee, regardless of position, could present ideas directly to leadership. He encouraged supervisors to recognize quiet contributors whose work often went unnoticed. His new workplace slowly became known as a company where people mattered just as much as profits. Months later, Ava stood proudly in the audience during a community leadership award ceremony as her father accepted recognition for transforming workplace culture. Tears filled Marcus's eyes when he saw his daughter smiling brighter than he had seen in years. That single smile meant more than every paycheck, every promotion, or every award. Driving home that evening, Marcus remembered the day he had stood outside his former office carrying a cardboard box, believing everything was over. Looking back, he realized losing that job had not been the end of his story. It had been the painful beginning of a far greater chapter. Sometimes the door that closes behind us is only making room for the one that was always waiting ahead. If this story touched your heart, please don't scroll away without showing your support. Like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave a meaningful comment, and subscribe so more people can discover stories that inspire hope, courage, and compassion. Special request: before this story ends, please comment with the words, "Kindness always wins," if you believe that treating people with dignity will always matter more than power or position. Marcus never forgot the day he lost everything because it became the day he found something far greater than a paycheck. He found proof that integrity is never wasted, that quiet goodness never goes unnoticed forever, and that one unexpected phone call can transform despair into hope. Life may sometimes break our plans, but it also has a remarkable way of rewarding those who continue choosing love, responsibility, and kindness even when no one seems to be watching. And perhaps that is the greatest victory of all.